Yo, 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 what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 534. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero. Yo, yo, yo. Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, everybody?
And Brian Manjoma.
Rumor is her next studio is going to be called Blue Balls.
Oh
man, I'm guessing that studio will also be abandoned, like our boy Hassan. You know. All right, so Adam's taking a break tonight. Brett's still recuperating, so you got us six tonight. But before we go on, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Emilio Lopez, who is turning a very young 45 years old.
Yeah.
If we had Carlos here, he'd be like, woo, you know, he'd be playing the sound effects right now.
If you'll just put the Chris one up, the tea leaves are smacking you in the face.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, we were talking about that before the show. Once you kind of hit a certain age, you kind of stop caring, you know? It's like, all right, another day.
I mean, I sort of stopped caring for a while now. Like, great. I guess 40 was a pretty big.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, once you hit that point, like, whatever, you know.
It's whatever. I remember Chris when he's like, you know, like when we were living together, he's like, hey man, don't get old. He's like, it's like you're gonna find.
That's the advice everybody gives.
Get a bunch of aches and pains that you didn't have before. I think I'm doing okay. I don't have any more pains that I. Granted, you know, having a hernia at one point that was pretty screwy, but you know, that's about the only thing. I'm not too bad. Still, knees are about as bad as they used to be, as they were. So they're not getting any worse.
There you go. No, but that's good, man.
You know, though, this is one thing I do notice: long play times and my hands hurt more.
Interesting.
Yeah. Long, I went pretty hard on Indiana Jones and like some of the fighting games. I do get a little bit of I don't feel the same looseness, and I don't feel that. That's the only difference I notice now. My hands hurt a little bit more from playing.
Oh, okay, that's not good. We're not going to turn this into the old man show, but no, one thing I've noticed, and I've when I recognized it, I started fixing it, but I was like, why are the games feeling harder than they were? Why am I reacting slower? But I think that was because I wasn't playing a lot of games for a while. But now that I'm regularly playing games, that's kind of fixed itself. No pains, thankfully. Gaming, that's all fine. But I will say, getting up in the morning is becoming harder all the time, man. Like the noises I make in the morning sometimes, dude, they are not human. Like, what the fuck was that noise I just made right now? But it's always during the week, though. During the weekend, I'm fine because I get enough sleep. You know, I'm like, I'm good. But yeah, getting old, man, it sucks, but it is what it is, man.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but now you and I are the same age again.
At least until
next time.
February.
Yeah, and then and at least, you know, I always say be thankful you have a birthday in May, bro, because my fucking shit is in the middle of winter. It's like, okay. Yeah. Although I will say this year, I actually had a proper real birthday. Like a birthday that I haven't had since I was a kid. My sister came over, brought a cake and everything. I'm like, oh shit, I haven't had one of these in a while, you know?
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Just like home birthday, right?
Yeah,
like,
home birthday. She came over with the kids, brought over some Dominican food. You already know. It was good stuff, man. Haven't had something like that for a while, you know?
I find the older I get I'm more appreciative of that side of things.
I was thinking the same thing, dude.
Than actually going to a store, you know, or going to a restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah. But even that, you know, if you go to like Valentino's, you know, that's always a good time.
I mean, yeah. I mean, been there.
That was our tradition right there for both of us. Like, yo, birthday, let's go to Valentino's. You know,
Yep.
man. All right. Anyway, let's get into it. We actually have a lot of topics tonight, people. This might be a
All right.
long show, so we'll see. But we're gonna start off with a present for Manny. Chris is going to do some financials for us, people, with graphs.
Oh shit!
So I'm gonna let you take over. So yeah, Chris, we'll start with some Nintendo financials. We'll talk about that. Then we'll work to some PlayStation financials. It's gonna be a good night, people. All right, Chris, the floor is yours, sir.
Let me find my spreadsheet.
All you motherfuckers getting a happy birthday tonight. You know.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'll just do my screen.
Yeah, do that. There we go. All right, there you go. You're good. Oh no. I
What happened?
It like doubled up.
It's echoing. Yeah.
I think you went to the wrong screen. How do I?
You're not looking at Excel?
No.
No.
Looking at me.
We're looking at your Discord.
Let me try that again.
We try again. Again, we're old. Sometimes we fuck up. It happens. Let's try again.
Okay.
Hey, let's go.
Spreadsheets?
Yep,
Okay.
I see the
All right,
spreadsheets. Oh God. All right, all yours.
Okay, so just looking at the report for this fiscal year, 2025, it's not good. They've had a precipitous drop. Now, when I did this last year, I said that their hardware sales and software sales were slowing down, even though they had some hits in there. The Switch was 7 years old at that point. I had made that comment. Now it's 8 years old.
Shit.
And at some point, a few months ago, they announced that there was a successor finally coming. And we knew that, but that was for the normies. Now it was like a public release, like, hey, there's a Switch 2 coming. So I don't know how much their sales dragged in that last quarter, but their sales have dragged tremendously over the last year. So if you can, I'll read out these numbers.
Yeah.
But you had last year they pulled in about 11.52 billion in net sales revenue, right? But this year it's only about 8 billion. I'm using US dollars here. I'm not doing yen. But that's a drop of 30% year over year. And that's at the biggest hit. The hardware is the biggest hit. If you look at that, their hardware sales have dropped nearly 50%. You've gone from 4.2 billion last year to just 2.1 billion this year. In total hardware sales, so it's like Switch Lite, Switch OLED. It's fallen off. Now a lot of the analysis quotes was like, oh well, they announced the Switch 2, so that clearly halted sales. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. They didn't announce that at the beginning of last year when the fiscal year started. They only announced that earlier this year. That became official. So yeah, in Q4 it would definitely slow sales down a lot. But through the other ones, they hurt themselves by not really having software launches. They just had remakes. Like they had Paper Mario, Super Mario Jamboree or whatever. Like these aren't big titles. So they were pushing everything off to the next system. That's where they want the hits, and they need them. If you see this report, or you understand what I'm saying here. You have a profit drop of 46.6%. Their net profit dropped 43%. Their software sales dropped, 27.6%. These are huge declines in an annual report. This is not anything that's going to make any investor bullish, right? They tried to pepper this if in the actual report they put their 2026 forecast higher in the report, right? Try to make some cheery news, and their forecast is quite rosy. They're predicting that they will sell 15 million Switch 2s in the next fiscal year. That's a big number. That's a huge order. And I know it's like, okay, they have, they're selling in a global market. but if they keep their same strategy, if you're doing artificial scarcity, if you're moving systems around, God forbid you have any production issues, uh, or a tariff comes along, I don't know. There's all sorts of things you can't bank on, right? They got somewhat lucky with this report because the foreign exchange rate, the yen has really dropped compared to the dollar. I think it's 146 yen to a dollar now. So that actually benefited them in foreign exchange. But that's not a strategy you can bank on. You can't bank on, it's like banking on the wind to be, in your favor that day. That's just sheer luck. But
bro, hold on. That is a lot of red, man. I'm just seeing a sea of fucking red here.
Yeah. This is all the decline. So if you look at the regional sales in the Americas, you had a 34% decline. In Europe, 31.7% decline. In Japan, a 25% decline in sales. So these are these are slowdowns, but this is a yearly slowdown. So you have to factor in that they've had weak titles going into the whole year. This is not just everybody put the brakes on because of Switch 2. It's like, gamers knew earlier and maybe put the brakes on earlier, but normies and other people they're not going to stop purchasing these games or these systems for the kids or whatever. They don't know that another Switch is coming until it's in the newspaper or something or on TV. Then they know. Then they're going to go, oh, well, I'll wait for that one. If the price point doesn't drive them away, if that and that remains to be seen how that plays out. So Nintendo has a very favorable forecast, but if you can, if you look at like this chart here, you could see, you could visualize a little. And I'm sorry for the people who just listen to audio, but I have orange bar for this fiscal year and the blue bar last year. You can see the stark difference. Some of them are over 50. It's 50% greater. Their net profit and operating profit, which is very important, performance-wise as a performance metric, to have it drop 49 or 50%, close to 50%. That's a huge dip. Now they have increased their cash on hand. I don't know if it's like liquidating anything, if they maneuvered or sold some bonds or whatever, but I think they are. How do I say this? They are hoping for the best but preparing for the worst. So you want cash on hand to whether and I would say this having 10 billion on hand would carry you through maybe a year and a half if sales are poor. I'm not predicting anything. I'm not gonna eat crow if this thing explodes, right? Like last time. I'm just saying that if this is the Wii U all over again, then they do have money to lean on, but it's not gonna last. Like I don't want to whether people go, they have a war chest.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought they have the war chest. Yeah, what happened?
The war chest is a very loose term. And a lot of people yell about this, especially Nintendo fans. I don't think you understand how money works and how much money a company just burns through just existing. Like things they have to pay, like taxes, real estate fees, property tax. They have to pay employees. They have operation costs that I can't even list. Like they have to ship things all over the world. They have to pay VAT tax in Europe. They have to pay all sorts of stuff. There is a ton of expenses that goes into operating a business. So you can't say, well, they're selling $70, $80 games at 15 million, so they made this much money. That's like an infantile understanding of accumulated earnings. You have to take into account everything that goes into their operating losses. Then you get your net profit, right? And their net profit right now is low because their sales have dropped a lot. So it's not just getting hit by taxes and stuff, which I think they deferred some of their taxes, so their tax burden wasn't so bad this year. But when you have very low sales, when you have your sales dropping 50% in the Americas on hardware, that's huge. So what what do we get out of all of this? So I'm not gonna do tea leaves. I'm just gonna say this: they need this thing to sell. They need the Switch 2 to sell really well. They're counting on it selling well. They set their forecast projections to 15 million units by the end of this fiscal year. So by end of March 2026, they expect to sell at least 15 million units. Now they could revise that number. That could be like shooting the moon, and maybe they'll by September or in the holiday they'll see how they do and maybe revise it down. But even if you revise it down a little, like you already don't have investor confidence right now. Like this doesn't look good to me. If I was investor, I'd be like, okay, so you're banking everything on your next release. And then if you know the history, it's like, well, the release before this was terrible.
Yeah.
You have a hit with the Switch, you're trying to do the same thing, but you don't know. And also it's super expensive compared to the last one. You're turning up prices, and if you look at social media or anything, you can see people are not happy about that. So we'll see how that all plays out. If anything else was happening, if there wasn't a Switch 2 in this picture, and I was reading this report to you, and I was telling you that their, net sales are down 30%, and their hardware sales are down 50%, I would say they're collapsing, right?
Yeah.
And then the cash and equivalents in the bank is just gonna pad them till next year until they figure out what to do. But no, they have a system launching, so we'll have to see. We'll really have to see how that plays out. But this doesn't look good. They rode this too hard, and I don't, how do I say this? I think the Switch 2, they probably wanted it last year.
Whoa, that's an interesting theory.
They probably wanted to launch this last year. And I don't know what kind of circumstances. I don't know if it was manufacturing issues, supply issues, related to the Rona back then and whatever. Maybe things like, slow rolled, and then all of that is catching up now, and now they're finally ready to release. And that set their agenda to go, oh, okay, so, well, we need to price the system at this in the Americas and Europe in order to recoup some of this stuff. And we know the markup is huge because the Japanese version is approximately $340 US, but we're getting charged what, $450 for a base system, over $100 more. So the markup is immense, right? So yeah, that's the crux of it. We'll see how they do. We'll see what happens. The only parts of the company that's positive is playing cards, merchandise, and that pretty much is their deal with Universal. So now Epic Universe is kind of open. They opened 2 stores over there in both locations, I think California and Florida. And so they have merch in the parks now. So that's a huge boon for them. And I think they're, the merch and the cards, especially Pokemon cards, seem to be, flying off the shelf. So that's a boon for them. But that's minuscule compared to the video game portion, right? So while that looks good, the rest of the report looks terrible.
That's interesting because, again, and I'm pretty sure, even though you already said a few times that this is like because people are going to go, oh, of course the sales are down. They're expecting new console. I'm glad you said many times, most people were not expecting new console. Normies didn't know about that. So what we're seeing right now paints a pretty grim picture of how things were going. Because, the console was out for 8 years. Interest wasn't there like it was before. And now, we're at this situation, and I think it's good to illustrate that because it shows you just how much Nintendo needs the Switch 2 to succeed. Because a lot of people are under the assumption, they're like, oh, Switch 1 did phenomenally. Nintendo's in a great spot. Switch 2, even if it doesn't do well, the company's fine. That's not what the numbers say, though. Very interesting.
Yeah, no. And any company who's preparing to weather a problematic forecast is going to increase their cash on hand, right?
Yeah.
They're going to start selling assets and whatever. And that's what you see in this report. So while you see their net profit, operating profit, and sales numbers dropping, and then you see the cash and equivalents go up, that means they're preparing for
Yeah.
the worst. But they also forecasted, because there's the plus side is whatever projections they have, whatever reporting they have, and I don't know how they forecast this stuff. They think globally they're going to sell through 15 million hardware of Switch 2. We'll see how that works out. I don't know what the Switch sold in the first year. I don't remember. I don't have those numbers.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I mean, I could look it up, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Because there's a different they're in a different market situation now than back then. There are alternative like PC handhelds. There's they only are launching with two exclusives this year. There's only two. There's just Mario Kart and Donkey Kong.
Yeah. By the way, Chris, it sold almost. I'll give you the exact number. Sold 17.79 million consoles in the first 13 months. The original Switch.
Right.
So that's more. So they're actually expecting to sell a little less than that.
A little less, but slightly less.
Slightly less.
But the first Switch didn't have any of the kind of production or problems that this system seems to have. And so I'm wondering if they'll even have that many in the market by then. By you get to Q4 and you only have like 10, 12 million in the market. I don't see how you push into 15. So we'll just see how that plays out.
Yeah. Very interesting stuff there, man. And obviously we're going to check back during the rest of this year to see how Nintendo's financials do once the Switch 2 releases. But again, for you guys listening at home, or at work, most of you are at work, let's just be honest. People love listening to the podcast at work. It is just a sea of red right here, dude. It's like the highest one is like 49% down, but on average, it seems to be about 35% down almost across the board. Like you said, only the playing cards and merchandise is the only thing. And, I don't know what cash equivalents is, but that's the only things that are in the black. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is disturbing. If you just look at this isolated and you didn't know what moves they were making in a few months, you would think this is a disaster. Like, what the hell happened? Like, I'm sure, I'm not going to talk about Ubisoft's financial report. I'm sure that came out. That was probably a joke. But you look at that, that's an absolute disaster. But this, if we know what their strategy is going forward, so we'll see. But they're banking heavily on the Switch 2. Yeah. And they have nothing else. They're down. They only make one system now. Yes, they have the partnership with Universal, and they're branching off. They're going to make more animated movies and whatnot, but that's a separate thing. The core of their business is video games, right? So you can't lean on just Pokemon cards and park merch and movies to brace this. This is where your most of your profit originates from. So something has to change. So if the Switch 2 gets off to a slow start, even if it's like the 3DS, even not even compared to Wii U, if it's a slow start like the 3DS, like you're only selling maybe a couple million, 1 million a month or something, that's too slow a progress. You're not going to hit 15 million in 12 months. Like, there's no way. And then if the word of mouth is bad and people start dropping off, that's even worse. Then you're going to have to make a price adjustment. You're going to have to make a price adjustment. And I'm very curious to see the first strategy they take if the sales are slow out of the gate. If the sales are slow out of the gate, I hope that they don't punish Switch owners, trying to push them into the Switch 2. I hope that they will just lower the price.
Yeah. And again, there's precedent for that. They lower the price of the 3DS, so there is precedent for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, man. Good stuff there. Let's move over to PlayStation financials, because I got some stuff to say about this.
Oh yeah, let me share a different screen here. because I have a whole different sheet for.
PlayStations.
Okay.
There we go. Good. Ooh, charts. Very nice pie graphs.
Yes, let me.
And again, you're able to do this because Sony does a very nice job of breaking all this stuff down.
Oh yeah.
Unlike Microsoft.
They do, and I'll share their sheet in a second because it's great. Like I put this together just to show. I like to show the segments.
Yeah.
And I like to show how much importance PlayStation has in Sony Global, right? And as I always explain, and you guys know, Sony has multiple segments, right?
Yeah.
These segments are huge. They have music,
Huge.
Sony Pictures, electronic products and services, right? They make, TVs and all that stuff. Imaging, and that's a big part of their business too. Is image. They produce image sensors for all sorts of other companies. And do they own? And they don't. They do produce their own cameras, right? So
yeah,
make
they do.
image
Yeah.
sensors. So there's all those things, but the big moneymaker for Sony is PlayStation, and it just is, and it's actually grown quite a bit since the last fiscal year. So this year, and I have it labeled. Everybody labels it differently. So they say fiscal year 2024, which most of the year is 2024. I don't know. Nintendo says 2025. It's the same thing. So in this current year, their PlayStation has had 9.4% growth over the previous year. So from 29.43 billion USD approximately to 32.2 billion. And that's huge. Like music has grown actually in a relative way more than that, but the music segment, if I can, where is it? Is only 13.9% of their net sales, right? And PlayStation is 35.2% of that. So, like, if you're not seeing the pie chart, that's a big chunk of that pie is coming from PlayStation. And so let me switch. How do I switch screens here? I just because I went to a window.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. I'll put it back up when it's back. But yeah, 35% goes to PlayStation. Again, we keep telling you guys, like, that is the big winner for Sony right there. It's back to Discord, Chris.
It is? Why is it doing that?
There we go. Technical difficulties tonight.
Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted. All right, there it is.
There we go. That's Nintendo's. Okay, that's your cool. Perfect. Oh yeah, look at that. They do make it look nice on their own too.
Yeah. So this is the part of the report specifically about games and network services, which is PlayStation. So they attributed their 9% increase majorly to increase in sales of non-first-party game software titles, including add-on content. So third-party stuff, essentially. Non-first-party just means third-party. They had their software sales increased. Also, remember, now Xbox is selling games on the PlayStation.
Yeah, that's right.
On your PlayStation and stuff. So their library has actually grown. So that is huge. The same thing, like I said about Nintendo, the yen is weaker against the dollar, so foreign exchange is in their favor. So that helped with overall net sales and revenue increases. And they said increase in sales from network services. So I'm assuming that means they up their monthly active users for PlayStation Plus. And I don't know if people who's buying what tier.
It doesn't break that down. Okay.
Yeah. But they have they're chasing that grill. And I'll say this: there's when you hear companies say that they're not going after millions of units sold, which means hardware units like PS5 and PS5 Pro and eventually PS6. When they say they're not going after millions of units sold, but it's more important to have monthly active users. that's a sign that we've talked about this on the show for years. Tony's talked about it. We've all talked about it in some respect. That all of these, Sony, Microsoft, not Nintendo, they're not going to change, but they're all moving towards being a service.
Yeah.
Instead of being and a brand instead of a console. So we may see the whatever is the next Xbox. That's probably the last Xbox, right? That's probably the last piece of hardware Microsoft's going to design and put out.
Yeah.
With the brand on it. And the PS6 may be the last PlayStation because more games are ending up on PC. Look, they just announced this week that Stellar Blade's going to PC and won't need PSN on it, right? It's just going to be on PC there. And there's more titles that they're going to put on PC.
Yeah, I know you're right. But again, the part I'm reading this that sticks out to me, that disturbs me, user engagement continue its strong momentum with monthly active users growing. So I guess Sony's now going to be pulling that bullshit too. It's like, oh, look at our engagement numbers. Like, okay, because even outside of this report, I noticed Sony starting to use that language more.
Yes, you notice that's why I brought. Yeah, thank you. That's why I brought it up. Monthly active users. That's a momentum change, right? That is now we're not, and they've actively said this. I forgot who's the head of Sony now. Not the guy. Post Jim Ryan, the Japanese dude.
Yeah, I'll look him up. But before you go on, just to show that I'm not a complete pony, I'm not going to suddenly go, oh, user engagement, that's great. We love those numbers. No, I'm not changing my tune on that shit. I don't like when Microsoft does it. I don't like when Ubisoft does it. And I'm not going to like it when Sony does it. It's fucking bullshit. It's smoke screen. It's obfuscating like actual real fucking sales, So fuck that shit. Anyway, let me look this up while you continue.
And I hope that these reports stay the way they are because remember Sony Global each segment has to have kind of parity in their reporting, right? Which is reporting on sales, operating income, and losses. So if you're now integrating that into monthly active users, then are they going to talk about concrete sales? And I hope so because in this report you have to. Like I don't see how you get around it, but their marketing going forward and stuff they put out about their games is might not have that. They might not be talking about sales numbers anymore for individual titles. They may only just talk about like, well, this many players played this many hours. Right. Those are things we hate. Like,
fuck that shit, man. Yeah. By the way, Chris is Hideaki Nishino.
Yes, that was coming from him.
Yeah.
This monthly active user.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all, man. Anyway, I'll sign off later. Continue. I'm getting frustrated already.
Yeah. So overall, year over year, they've done really well. It's funny enough, I wish Carlos was here because he'd probably be like, yeah, but where are all the games?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that, and I honestly don't know how you increase your operating income and sales when there hasn't been exclusives. For that many. I mean, we're looking at total of 13 for the life of the PS5. How many came out in this last fiscal year? What, 1, 2? I'll give it that, but they're doing something, I guess, and they're only attributing it to third-party sales and add-on content, so DLC, add-on packs to games that are actually boosting their sales, and that's working for them. But they do have a let me see where the page is for the forecast. Yeah, here's the forecast for the next fiscal year. So this is the report that would end next March 31st, similar to Nintendo. Games and network services, they're actually forecasting it down by 370 billion yen.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think they realize that this lack of titles, and we don't know when the PS6 is going to make an appearance and what they're going to plan for it. But this calendar year, I don't think there's any PlayStation exclusives launching.
Yeah, when it's a calendar year end, because Ghost of Yote comes out, but that might be the next calendar year, right?
Oh no, the count. Oh, like I mean, 2025. So
Yeah,
this year,
Ghost of Yote.
Ghost of
Yeah,
Yote. Okay, so they have one.
yeah. There could be
Just one.
others, but that's the major one I know. And again, and I'm sorry I keep cutting you off, but I just find it's very fascinating. This is from Sony's own stats. They actually, again, for you guys listening, there's a section that says before tariff impact and after tariff impact.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Anyway,
Yeah,
continue.
continuing
Yeah.
operations. Well, and that's all subject to change. You know, all that stuff is in flux. But yeah, I guess this is just for now, like what they see happening. And part of the sales decline could be due to that. Let's see. Here's the forecast. Year-over-year sales 8%.
Sales decline because you don't have any fucking games, bruh.
Yeah. So they're saying decrease in sales of hardware to well, this is, I mean, that's like, what the hell kind of description is that? Decrease in sales of hardware due to a decrease in unit sales. Yeah, that's the same thing. You're selling less hardware. You know,
we're selling less hardware because we're selling less hardware.
Hardware, yeah, that's something lost in translation there, but that's in their own words. I didn't make that up. That's in the report. They predict a negative impact from foreign exchange rates. I don't know if they predict like an upswing of the yen against the dollar, so that will hurt their sales in foreign markets. They do say they'll have an increase in sales of first-party game software titles. I'm assuming that would include Ghost of Yote and anything else that I can't think of right now, because I honestly don't know.
Oh, that heretic prophecy. Let's go. Man.
And then increase, like, basically what's driving them this year, increase in sales of non-first party game software titles, including add-on content. So third-party software, add-on content to games, and them getting more titles ported from like Xbox and stuff, and people engaging with that. And then you can see on the bottom, they also have the monthly active users.
Oh God.
They stamp that on everything.
Here we go.
Yeah. So yeah, a pretty interesting report. So from this, like, PlayStation's doing well. They're predicting a downturn for the next fiscal year. I mean, you have a lack of titles. You just have a lack of software. So obviously you're going to have a decrease in hardware sales. And I don't see, if you sell through less hardware and you have less titles, the only thing you can bank on, which I think this is why they're pushing this so hard, is trying to increase PlayStation Plus users and trying to upsell people to premium tiers of PlayStation Plus. That's probably why they're so bullish on this, even though they have a downturn in hardware, which is 8% impact on their sales. They're banking on that, countered by monthly subscriptions and people in game and purchasing add-on content to games like Helldivers and whatnot. So yep, that's where PlayStation is. But like I said, lion's share of the net profit for the company, 35.2% in this fiscal year of Sony Global, everything they have.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you went over this, but fuck, why am I getting that message from iCloud? Shut the fuck up. It wanted me to leave a review. I'm doing a podcast, bro. So did you go over that, how much money they made? Because they were touting that they made like over 30 billion and it was like their most profitable year ever or some shit like that.
Yeah, so I did hear, let me zoom this. So you can see
there it is.
So right here, 32.2 billion. So that was a 9.41% increase over last year. They said roughly 9, but I calculated it I use an average of yen to the dollar conversion, and I got 9.4 roughly. So, but they did, 32.2 billion overall net sales revenue from PlayStation.
Yeah, and that's
huge.
Yeah, no, that is, and that you said that's the number you calculated.
Yeah, that's from their report.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
like,
Your number pretty much lines up with everybody else's number, so yeah, that's on point. But anyway, I'll put a pin on that because I'm going to come back to it in a bit. But anything, what are your big takeaways from this report?
Well, they have. I'd say this: they've been fortunate to get to increase their library with Xbox titles, and they have third-party support. Sitting where they are in terms of units in the market, they have the pull to pull in like tons of titles, and they've been relying on it. But you can only lean on that so much. So they've had a very good year, but you can see they're predicting a downturn next year. And why? Because they're missing exclusives. They just are, and so they're predicting a decline in hardware sales and a decline in an increase in first party hardware sales because they'll actually have one or two titles, but that's a problem. You need more than that. You need more exclusives. You need more reasons for people to upsell. So I don't know if there's something in the background that I don't know in terms of deals for PlayStation Plus. Are they going to put more kind of titles in monthly games that people want to try to make it more competitive with Game Pass and get people to upsell to more premium tiers of PS Plus? I don't know. They probably are, because if that's what they're chasing, if they're chasing monthly active users, and they keep using this term, if they're chasing that, then you absolutely have to offer them a ton of perks for being on the service.
Yeah, no, that's disturbing. I don't like that they're using that language, man. But so far they seem to be doing good. But yeah, they need games. They need games, man. It's getting grim out there, and it's sad that the reason that one of the reasons they're staying afloat is because they have a bunch of Xbox games now. That's crazy. You know, you're staying afloat because of your competitor's second scraps or whatever. You know, leftovers. Let's just be honest here. You know,
I mean, we've been calling this out.
Oh shit, Carlos is here.
Over a decade.
Yo.
Yo, man, we've been calling this out for over a decade. It seems like it's remember the Square Enix games, the Kojima games, they're exclusive to PlayStation, and they make it seem like, oh, this is all we got to do is highlight this. We got what do you call it? Bloodborne. Those types of games that aren't really first party games, and they've been carrying by those games, and now Microsoft is releasing way more games than they are. It's not even close.
That's crazy. No, you're 100% right about that. But yeah, we'll see how things go. All right, Chris, thank you for that. I'm pretty sure the fans will be, or they actually are very happy, but they will be very happy when they check out this episode later if they didn't catch it live.
My pleasure.
Good stuff. All right, let's move on to other news here related to last one. So Sony has been revealed that Sony is considering raising the price of the PS5. And remember what we told you last week, right? That we think tariffs are being used as an excuse to raise prices. What did we just say in the last segment? PlayStation specifically made, or actually was Sony. Sony made more money last year than ever, right? But they need to raise the price of the console. They don't need to. It's because they want to. They know, oh, this is our chance. We can get away with this shit. Xbox did it. Nintendo did it. We're going to do it too. I'm convinced that these companies are not raising prices because of tariffs. And we saw the tariff situation this week, right? 90-day pause on it. Not exact pause, but they lowered them to reasonable levels and shit. It's not that. Sony looks even worse because of that. You just had an announcement that the tariffs were brought way down, basically both sides, the US and China, brought them down by 115% on both sides, right? And Sony still said, oh, we may need to raise the price because of tariffs. The tariffs that were just lowered, the tariffs that are it's fucking bullshit. So you're blaming the tariffs despite the fact that you made $32 billion, bro. Nah, I don't buy that shit. I don't buy that shit. It's stupid. You know, and of course, you got the ponies out there defending this. Oh, they didn't say they're going to do it. They didn't say they're going to do it. The fact that they're considering it, it proves our point, bro. They're seeing what's going on. They're like, okay, yeah, this is our chance, bro. Let's make some more money off these motherfuckers. What are your thoughts, Carlos?
Yeah, it's we've been another thing that we've been beating the drum for decades now. I remember we used to have conversations about comparative moralities between these corporations like Sony versus Microsoft. Like we were having debates about which one is more pro consumer and stuff, which to me were always stupid, but because they're all greedy fucks. So yeah, I mean, I will say this. The tariffs don't make things easier because they seem like they can change at a fucking point, at a stop. So no one knows what the hell's gonna happen with that. So it just gives them even a bigger excuse and a bigger leeway to be more greedy than they normally are.
By the way, the tariffs don't seem to change. They do. The tariffs are like the weather in New York. In the morning, it might be nice and hot, and the night is fucking cold, and rains in between. It's like you don't know what the fuck they're getting with these tariffs. So, I really do think these companies are just like, okay, now it's our chance. Xbox is the most egregious. You're gonna raise the price on a console no one's buying? Really? That like the guy sitting at home. I don't want an Xbox. Oh shit, they raised the price. Oh, now I gotta get it. And now I'm gonna be. I don't want to say tinfoil hat, but I'm gonna call it cynical, Tony. Right? What if Sony's like, hey, if people think we're gonna raise the price of the PS5 Pro, they're gonna start buying them now while they're cheap. Let's get out there and say we're considering raising the prices, bruh. Motherfuckers gonna buy the system. That could be happening too. You don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
And that's
throwing that out there.
And that's one of the things with Sony. I mean, they started this. The PS5 Pro. There's no good reason why it should be $700. It's an iterative console to the PlayStation 5 that was what, 500?
It's a great point. That happened way before the Trump administration or the tariffs or any of that stuff, Or
Microsoft and Nintendo releasing prices.
That's a great point. Sony did start this shit. I know some of the fans listening are gonna like hearing that, but who did it first, bruh? Come on now.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where Sony got ahead of the curve with the prices, and they still got a lower level console. But my theory is always, my tinfoil hat is the PS5 is going to get harder and harder to get, and the PS5 Pro is going to be the de facto console most people get in order to get in. And obviously, it's the one that's more expensive. It's the one that's going to generate them more revenue. And I don't know if I was late, so my bad. I don't know if you covered, but the sales. Oh yeah, Chris covered the thing.
Yeah, we did.
77 million.
Oh no, we didn't get to that. But yeah, we didn't say that. But yeah, 77 million consoles. Yes.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
77 million for a console that has no games, bro. It's insane. Yeah. Well, now they do have Xbox games.
You got Indiana Jones.
Look at Manny. He's playing motherfucking Indiana Jones, bro.
I'm playing Indiana Jones, man. What's this? Playing Xbox?
I'm playing Doom. It's like
we're gonna play Gears.
Y'all are playing Oblivion.
Yeah, that's right. I'm telling you.
ZeniMax is on a roll these last few months, aren't they?
Yeah, and people are buying these games on PlayStation.
They're buying them on PlayStation.
Yo, man, if you were to tell me 10 years ago, be like, yo, what would you be enjoying more on your PlayStation? A first party game from Naughty Dog or Sony Santa Monica, or a Western turn-based RPG made by French developers that came from Ubisoft.
Yeah,
it's like that's a bizarre world.
One of the things they said that was interesting, they said they are not ruling out manufacturing the PlayStation right here in the good old USA, which is obviously one of the reasons we kind of have these tariffs. But that You can't just have that happen overnight. You know, that's going to take a while.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. I mean, you know, buildings don't just pop up.
This isn't Sim City. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Oh, like to be honest, like a lot of these things that are being set in motion now, you're probably not going to see these until like maybe 5 years later.
Yeah, Manny and I are going to be our 50s, bro, when that happens.
We'll be in our 50s, yeah.
It's true. You know, it's crazy. But yeah, we'll see. Manny, what do you think about this, Sony? Oh, we have to raise the prices.
I mean, we know it's going to happen, and I know a lot of the Sony folks are all, you know, Sony fans are all like, Xbox, you're gonna get it.
Yep. What I tell you, motherfuckers, I told you this was gonna happen, and I told you, don't laugh, because Sony's gonna do the same fucking thing. You know, and
every single company at this point in time who's a publicly traded company is going to use this opportunity to essentially blow out prices.
Yep.
And they're all going to learn the same thing after this. If we're still in what is considered a recession right now, right? Prices are still going up. You know,
yeah.
People keep saying eggs are going down, but who gives a shit about fucking eggs? You know,
I care about eggs.
Chickens make eggs every fucking day. What controls the prices of eggs is gas. Anyway, it's you know, none of this stuff is ever going to go down, and the shitty thing about a lot of this stuff is. Yeah, that's the shittiest thing.
It'll never go down, Manny. It'll never go down. They'll raise the price of this fucking console. The tariff situation gets fixed. They're not going to drop the prices. You think that Xbox is going to drop down? No, it's not. You know?
No, it's not. It's not. They're gonna keep it at the same price it is at. Never, and at no point have I ever seen a company ever take down the price of anything.
Never.
You know, maybe as the years go on, but like even like some of when did the PlayStation 4 finally get a price drop?
It was a while into the cycle. I think it was when the PS Slim was out. That's when they finally got a price drop.
It's really unheard of to hear of just the price going up after like 6 years out, like 5 years after the fact. It makes absolutely no sense. But I mean, here's the thing. I also have to say that Microsoft in general right now is on a tear of doing what would be considered anti-consumer things.
Yeah.
You know, making people upgrade to Windows 11. You know, that bullshit that's happening this year too.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's the frustrating part. If and when the tariff situation normalizes, these companies are not going to bring those prices down.
No, they're not. They're going to keep it. They're going to be, because again, like what do their investors want to see?
More money. They want to see more profits than last year. Yep.
More profits than last year. That's what they want to see every single time. And if your company is not providing that, then then you get all kinds of antitrust and all kinds of other silly things too. As opposed to, it's like, you motherfuckers are getting enough. You are getting so much money, it's not even fucking funny, right?
Yeah.
And this is not enough.
No, they're full of shit.
Anyway,
they're full of shit. Yeah. All right, man. Anything else you guys want to say about the PS5 potential price hike?
If it happens, it's going to happen, and they're just gonna do it, and they're not gonna drop the price either. They're gonna say because of the current financial landscape.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what they'll say. And the current financial landscape could be anything. You know,
yeah.
It's like fucking. You know what? I'll leave it on. I'm about to get political. You know? No, I'll say it. It's like climate change. That doesn't mean shit. It could be anything. You know, it's just made up nonsense. It's this word that keeps you in this perpetual state. You know, it's horse shit. It's fucking horse shit. Because of current situation, fuck out of here with that shit. You know? I'm mad right now, bro.
Does not.
No, they don't. Yeah, these are my opinions. They don't reflect the views of everybody on Throwdown, but they do reflect the views of Chris. Me and Chris are always like simpatico with stuff like that, but no, it's the same thing. It's a fucking grift, you know. It's a fucking grift. Climate change. This shit's a fucking grift. Anyway, let's move on before I break something. We got to talk about the Nintendo Switch too, bro. The specs have leaked.
Who's that leaker?
I don't know.
How come Nintendo hasn't sent their ninjas out?
Yeah, right. Well, that is interesting, isn't it? So I'm hearing kind of conflicting reports. Some saying, like, people are like, oh, it's more powerful. And people are like, oh, this shit is weak. You know? Apparently, like, the chip they're using is from like 2021. Oh, big shock there. You know?
Yeah, old tech. Yeah.
This is what Nintendo does.
That's on brand for Nintendo.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody else had a chance to look at these the specs, but that's the one I caught. That was like that it's using an old chip from like 2021. You know, and another report said that it could potentially be less powerful than a Steam Deck, which would be insane. You know.
Well, if that's true, then
I wasn't
compared to an ROG Ally or something, it'd be weak.
Oh, hold on a second.
I wasn't expecting it to be more powerful than a Steam Deck.
Weaker though.
I would think it would be or weaker.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead, Rich. What are your thoughts, bro?
Absolutely. Yes, it is. It is weaker than the Steam Deck because there are certain games on PC on Steam Deck that will never come to Nintendo Switch. So it already is weaker from a lineup standpoint.
Yeah. But yeah, again, this is a leak, so take that how you will. But if this is true, bro, you're not really getting that much of an upgrade. But again, this is Nintendo, right? What were we expecting here? You know, minor spec bump. What is this? I'm reading this from Digital Foundry. They went in. I'm not reading this whole report though. There were some leaks about the consoles, and I'm not familiar with this processor. T239 processor. Asterisk caveats. We'll see, man. That is worrying though. Here we go. I'll read this part. A lot of the detail we have focuses on the vaguest element of the official specification. The quote custom processor made by NVIDIA. I went on a rant about that when we covered that. You know, when the original Switch first launched, Nintendo described it as a custom NVIDIA Tegra processor, when in reality it was effectively a vanilla Tegra X1. However, Switch 2's SoC, described in shipping manifest and NVIDIA leaks as T239, is very much custom silicon designed specifically for Nintendo. A lot of the confirmed detail tallies with existing leaks, and we've learned more. But yeah, there's a bunch of shit here, but that's kind of the long and short of it. It's like it's not as powerful as you may want, so be prepared. You know, this is another Nintendo, disappointing Nintendo console. It seems, at least when it comes to the processor and performance and all that.
Yeah, but it costs $100 more than a Steam.
But it costs 100. Yeah, isn't that something? Oh man.
It's like if you put Prada on anything.
Oh God. So yeah, again,
it's a Prada glass. It's a Prada glass jar. Oh my God, it costs $100.
It must be better because it costs more. And there's going to be idiots that think that too with all these consoles. The PlayStation's better now because it costs more. No, it's the same thing. Fucking idiots, man. All right, so there's that, and then here we go. Grand Theft Auto 6 is apparently causing, the delay of Grand Theft Auto 6 is causing even more chaos with other developers because now they don't know what the fuck to do. Because remember, they all moved away from November, and now they're like, wait, can we actually start releasing our games next year in May? What if the game gets delayed again? So it's just funny to see how one game could just have the entire industry in shambles like this. So I'm reading this off of go ahead.
Oh, I have a comment to make after you finish reading this
your statement. Yeah. It is from Bloomberg. I think it was your boy Jason Schreier, Rich, that wrote this. Now, now they're caught in a vice, delaying their game. Talking about developers, delaying their game a second time would be an expensive endeavor, ratcheting up the stakes for the eventual release. Then again, trying to come out alongside GTA 6 could be catastrophic. But what if they delay again and then GTA 6 slips among with them? There's no guarantee that May 2026 is a sure thing. The best hope might be to release in March, April, or even early May and hope it's not disastrous. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Even though the Rockstar CEO came out again today saying, hey, whenever we have a firm release date, it usually means that we're going to have our game out on time. No, I don't believe that. I could be wrong, but I really believe that just like with Red Dead Redemption 2, which was also delayed twice, like GTA 5, which was delayed twice, this game will be delayed twice. So don't be surprised if this game actually drops in the fall of 2026. So that being the case, if I were a game developer, just release your shit. If you want to play it safe, release it no later than April, April, mid-April, whatever. But you can't just be like adjusting shit just for this one game. I get it's GTA. If you come out at the same day as GTA, no one's fucking buying your shit. I get that. But it's just kind of interesting to see these developers scrambling. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Rich?
Well, first and foremost, I think this is a very hilarious thing for them to be worried about because now they know this game isn't coming out until May 2026, supposedly. I will say allegedly because we already know, as Tony pointed out in the past, this game is possibly going to be coming out in the fall. So now that they know around May, they have a very simple decision to make. Are we going to release this game before that, or are we going to release it afterwards? So that's why I think it's hilarious that they're worried about it because, yes, Grand Theft Auto will capture all the attention. But one other thing I do want to make, a comment I do want to make, and obviously this is a tinfoil hat theory as well, so might be a bit controversial.
Uh-oh.
Now, this game, I believe they said May 26th, right?
Yes.
It's May 20th.
May 26th, yeah.
I'm going to tell you why I don't believe that, because a week after that event is Summer Game Fest. And Summer Game Fest, they are going to have it again next year. There will be media and content creators going out to LA to actually play some stuff. So I think if that game was to actually come out at that particular time, that may impact the amount of people that are wanting to go to that event. So that's why I don't believe it is going to be May, because that's way too close. Whereas, and the example I use is that game Mind's Eye, which is also made by the former Rockstar producer. That game is coming out June 10th, right after Summer Game Fest. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But if I'm a developer and I am working on a game, if I know the game isn't going to be ready in spring next year, I would just say, well, let's just continue working on this and release it at a later time. I just think it's funny that they're worried so much about it. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Chris, what are your thoughts as a former Rockstar employee about the delays and other companies scrambling?
Oh, I'm not surprised. The other company scrambling though, that's a new one because GTA 5 was such a juggernaut that it's kind of like GTA 6 is kind of like an icebreaker. And when the rumors came out that it was going to launch November of this year, right?
Yeah.
It kind of shattered everything. Everybody scrambled to push titles either before it, after, delay them to next year, whatever. And then they go, oh, wait, my bad. It's May 2026, which is like tentative, right? We'll just put a pin in that. Now everybody's calendars moved around. There's a giant hole in November. Now some people move games to 2026, and now do they have to worry about May? They have to worry about if they move it again. To maybe October or November 2026. Like, I think that's where the scramblings come from because they don't want to be in the wake of the GTA 6 launch. They just don't. So I can see the concerns there. With the delays, though, that's not unexpected. I mean, you talked about this with Red Dead 2. I was there when GTA 5 got delayed the first time. That was pandemonium internally because just the freaking Rockstar forums were blown up, and we had to all like scramble to answer questions. People were just flipping out. So that's not a surprise. Also, they've changed their work culture since I was there. I mean, probably because of like Schreier's expose and stuff. They have really softened their kind of work ethic. Like I don't think the every day is a publishing day is a thing anymore. And so that kind of like crunch has given way to more padded times, probably more remote work and whatnot. So things slow down. If you do that, if you were relying on that crunch, if you're relying on people working 60, 70 hours a week, and all of a sudden you cut that off and you're like, whatever, and you don't plan around it, you don't change your workflow and your development cycles to accommodate that, then yeah, you're going to have tremendous delays.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right about that. By the way, speaking about Jason Schreier, he also put out another report saying that GTA 6 will indeed get delayed again. I actually agree with him on that one. Again, history has shown this already, you know? So these other game developers, they need to just do what they need to do, man, because this is getting out of hand. But, you know, to quote Rich, we'll see what happens, you know?
I mean, and it's not... Rockstar in the past has released GTA kind of half-assed in the past. Same with Red Dead 2 when their online stuff wasn't working.
Yeah.
So just get everything to work. Rockstar does not need GTA 6 to release this freaking decade.
No, they really don't.
To be honest. So make sure this game is right and it works. Take however long you need. Everyone's going to be excited whenever it releases.
Yeah, because you know it's going to be another game, Carlos, that's going to last another 15 years, you know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
By the way, Chris, think about how long ago it was since you worked at Rockstar. They had forums. I don't think they have those anymore. A lot of companies don't have forums anymore for fans, you know?
Yeah. The Rockstar community was pretty big. Like every week, they'd throw up challenges through, like you play Red Dead. At the time, it was like the first Red Dead. Or, you play something else. They fired up older games and played online. And then, and they had active community managers, and we had to participate in that to kind of get the messaging out when the delay happened. Yeah, that's all done now. All you got is the news wire.
Yeah.
You get the emails.
It's crazy, man. All right, speaking about Grand Theft Auto, a new rumor suggests that Rockstar is actually working on a Grand Theft Auto 4 for PS5, and it could release this year. Obviously, just a rumor, take it how you will, but it also kind of wouldn't surprise me if they know they're not going to release GTA 6 this year. Give people 4, because that's the game that's stuck on PS3, basically, and Xbox 360. So let me read this real quick. This is from Eurogamer. Word on the street is that Rockstar is getting ready to release a GTA 4 port for modern consoles. According to the latest rumor from known Rockstar insider Tez 2, a spruced up version of the open world action game could release later this year, followed by a remaster of Max Payne 3. That's kind of cool.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So here's just
it is like the what was it, the 13th anniversary or something like that?
Something like that.
13th anniversary of Max Payne 3 came out today.
Yeah, so let me read this real quick. Writing on the GTA forum. So there's a GTA forum. But where is the GTA forum? Is it on Rockstar's? It's not on Rockstar's website, of course not. They don't websites don't have forums anymore for like people. Too toxic, they call the fans. Writing on the GTA forum, Tez2 said someone at Rockstar had quote unquote hinted at a GTA 4 port and here's a quote, by now it should be gone up a year in development. The insider added that this port was one of the reasons Rockstar put the stoppers on the fan-made Liberty City Preservation project earlier this year. This project would have added a playable version of Grand Theft Auto 4's map to GTA 5. Here's another quote. If Rockstar still follow their plan laid out from the pandemic days, they'll do an MP3 port, Max Payne 3 port after 4. So that is an opportunity to do a bundle or definitive edition, Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes, and a Max Payne 3 port. Interesting. We got a 2-for-1 with this story, you know? So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on this?
Can I make a quick comment?
Go ahead, bro.
I'm going to speak for myself and Chris. That GTA 4, you said it's a rumor.
Yeah.
I think that is a fact.
Oh.
Because we both know that the Take-Two CEO loves to make money in as many ways as possible. So I do believe that is going to happen, because I've heard rumors about that for quite a while, that was coming, and I can confirm the Max Payne stuff is confirmed, because Remedy has came out and said they're just waiting for Rockstar to release it. So that's why I said that stuff is probably going to happen. But in the meantime, yeah, it makes sense for them to release GTA 4 if GTA 6 is not coming this year. You know, their shareholders still need to make some money this year, so that makes sense. But we have to wait and see what happens with that.
Yeah. So yeah, again, that game is like, and it's not on PC, or it is on PC. I remember all those mods from back in the day. But yeah, but it has been a very long time since we've seen GTA 4. So again, rumor, but I hope it's true, you know? Anybody else have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's, you know, if it comes, it comes. I don't think most people are super hyped. Probably, I mean, GTA 4. It's just, you know, more people are going to be playing GTA 5.
You know? Yeah. Because remember, GTA 4 did have its own online as well, but definitely didn't reach the heights of 5, you know?
Yeah.
That 5 is still enjoying. It hasn't stopped.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that train has not stopped.
It really hasn't, you know?
And it won't stop. The only thing that's going to stop it is GTA 6.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. All right. Moving on here. All right. So, we're going to talk about a little bit of fighting game news for a little bit, because nobody asked us about Virtua Fighter, so I'm going to talk about Virtua Fighter, because we got 2 big announcements. The first one is, and this one came out of nowhere, because obviously we had EVO Japan during the weekend. We got to see a new, trailer for Virtua Fighter 6. We got to see the updated Wolf Hawkfield, who looks a lot like Ganondorf now. But that trailer alone had more lore than any of the other Virtua Fighter games combined. Because the games don't have lore. Like basically, you find out that he was part of like a wolf. You know, they call it the Wolf Pack, kind of like some NWO type of deal. And now he broke away from them, and he's a heel character. That's something that the producer confirmed. He's like, we want to make him a heel character, and he looks pretty cool. You know, like yeah, he definitely has a distinct look to them, which is something that the developers talked about. It's like they didn't say this part, but they said they want to update it. But let's be honest, Virtua Fighter, the characters are kind of bland looking. It's just like Karate Man, Kung Fu Man, Boxing Man, whatever, So it's like, it's good that they're updating them. So I'm very eager to see. And, this is the Dragon Engine. It looks fucking great. Very short trailer, only 30 seconds, but I enjoyed that. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, I guess we're going to have to wait another year for Virtua Fighter 6 news. And it gives me hope. And I already told this to Rich, like, be on the lookout for Virtua Fighter, man. Anything. If you see anybody from Sega, Rich, at Summer Game Fest, hunt them down. Get some answers. So I need to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Again, very surprising to see that. And then the other one is that Virtua Fighter 5 is getting another re-release. Another one, But this is kind of cool. They're releasing Revo, which is currently available on PC. They're releasing it to PS5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch 2. They confirmed that. This is the first time a Virtua Fighter game has ever been on a Nintendo platform. And cross-platform, cross-play, Manny. So everybody gets to play,
Yeah, all right.
So pretty cool, It's kind of interesting to see Virtua Fighter 5, game that's literally 20 years old, getting a new lease on life, big showing at EVO. We also had like a big Virtua Fighter tournament that Maximilian dude hosted last month. And now it's coming Switch. So you Nintendo fans, play a real fighting game, put down Smash Brothers, play some real shit, Switch is getting some good fighting games. We get Street Fighter 6, we got Virtua Fighter 5. Throw Tekken on there. you know, after they fixed it, because the game is still going crazy. But yeah, I was very excited about that, you know, the Virtua Fighter news, so keep it coming. It's just so awesome to me. I'm like, I don't have to talk about Virtua Fighter 6 as theoretical anymore. I don't have to yell at Sega now. It's like, it's coming. It's crazy, you know? And then the other fighting game story I want to talk about, and this one irks me. So apparently Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, which you all know has been heavily marketed. You had fucking Ronaldo in there. You had that DJ. You had fucking posters all over Times Square. Shit's all over buses.
WWE.
Everything, right? Apparently the game flopped hard. It did not meet sales expectations. Like, it severely undermet sales expectations. And now their CEO is being transitioned to an advisory role, aka he's being given the window seat. Mm-hmm. All that bullshit. And this is what I want to talk about. All that shit ultimately hurt the game, right? No, Ronaldo fans don't give a fuck about this game. You know, and then Fatal Fury fans are looking at this fucking guy like, what the hell is this character doing here? Why is he in there instead of another character from Fatal Fury? You know, and I know like the community warmed up to Ganachi, the DJ, and for his part, he's been doing a good job of actually advertising the game. You know, but all that shit didn't work. All millions and millions of dollars, like, just throw down the drain to appeal to people who don't give a shit, who never heard of Fatal Fury. They should have, they really should have just focused on the core fighting game fans. That's what's been working for them for the past 10 years. You know, just catering to the core, you know, hardcore fighting fans. That's how you really build up. And it's sad because SNK, ever since the King of Fighters 14, they've been on an upward trajectory. You had King of Fighters 14, which did very well, despite how bad the game was, you know, although you contribute some of that to Street Fighter 5 fucking shitting the bed. Samurai Showdown was a big like surprise hit, 2019. Then you had King of Fighters 15, which is another kind of surprise hit. And then we kind of expected that for the new Fatal Fury game. Nope, the other way back around. So very upsetting, you know. Go ahead.
I feel like a lot of that, I feel like definitely having those people that are not part of the thing kind of hurt it, because it's like that's not something for us, or not something for the people that you're supposed to be advertising to. Like, and then also I'm going to say this, like, you know, everybody knows these characters, but they don't know these characters. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be treating this like this is like, oh, everybody knows what this is. Fatal Fury, despite them having, you know, obviously that's why they wanted to get, general audience views, or whoever is going to be looking at this to try to get this. But doing those sorts of cross promotions like that is expensive. They should have never put those two characters in the game initially. They should have let that all be like a future like download plan. But, you know, and then, you know, like I feel like, you know, also they had that connection with Saudi Arabia, and I feel like the Prince guy.
That's the problem. Yeah.
That, you know, to be honest, I don't think that the head of SNK should be given the window seat. I think they should tell those guys who bought the company to go suck an egg, because that's all they're pushing. That's all them saying. Oh yeah, we got the money. Let's put this in there. It'll make it great. No, it won't. You don't know you don't know the fans of these games. You got to keep the number one. The best thing to do is sort of kept it to a key roster, not blow so much money on the damn thing, and on the advertising side. Because again, you gotta pretend that, you know, at least for the mainstream audiences, you gotta pretend like they don't know a damn thing about this.
Yeah,
and I feel like
because they don't. You
advertise to the people that you advertise to the people that know Fatal Fury, and those people will be the ones that champion it. And you don't need nearly as much promotion for that.
Yeah, these
sound.
Go ahead.
These sound like they would be better shoo-ins to like a Fortnite type game, because, you know, when, especially, I mean, Ronaldo is the biggest name, but Ronaldo's like tucked away in a football league in Saudi Arabia. Like he's not in the zeitgeist as much as he was when he was in his prime.
Yeah.
And so and I'm pretty sure they spend a pretty penny on that. And like I agree with Tony. Even though I'm not a big fan of those games, get something that would get the fighting game community excited. The fighting game community is a sucker for crossovers.
Put fucking Ryu in there.
Yeah, well, Ken and Chun-Li are coming. That's what you should be advertising, not fucking Ronaldo. Not
Ronaldo.
Yeah, Ken and Chun-Li are coming.
Not to mention, Ronaldo doesn't look like anything special. He just
Nothing,
looks like some like generic guy that just managed to
soccer man.
Soccer man. You could literally swap that guy into anybody else more interesting, and you'll get a better deal out of it. I mean, it is a cool idea to have like a soccer player do that stuff, but like such a boring looking soccer player.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, to this game's credit, mechanically, Ronaldo and Ganache play very interesting. They have really interesting mechanics. Why not put those mechanics on a brand new character with a cool design? Instead of these real lifers, as the FGC has called them.
What's interesting about this game though? There are no who's the new characters in that game besides those two?
Oh, there's a couple. The girl Preacher, and I think, and the what's his face, the assassin guy.
Boy.
No, he's a girl. No, kid. Yeah, it's Preacher and the assassin guy Vox. Those are the two new characters. Everybody else is a returning character. And by the way, Manny, this game is missing two characters from Mark of the Wolves. Oh, geez, you know how you could have fit them in there if you could have removed these two guys. It's insane, but yeah, it's like here's the thing. Like you're right, King of Fighters is a bigger name than Fatal Fury, right? Because King of Fighters constantly keeps coming out. We haven't had a Fatal Fury game for 26 years. People don't know this game. Even some FGC people don't know this game. You shouldn't have been throwing so much money at this shit. And I really think, like you guys already said, I think all this advertising hurt the game. Because there were some people that were like. They're like, I'm not going to support a game with Ronaldo because of the whole, rape accusations and stuff like that. And where the money's coming from Saudi Arabia, remember, they call that guy the murder prince for a reason. So some people are like, I don't know about that. And it's frustrating because when Saudi Arabia, when they effectively bought the majority stake in SNK, the developers were like, oh, it's okay. They're not going to have any influence whatsoever. Look at this game. There are fucking influences all over it. Ganache's only in there because the Saudi guy likes this fucking dude. Why is Ronaldo in there, right? Because he's in the fucking Saudi league. The fingerprints are so evident and it's hard to get away from it. Yeah, the game is fantastic. Great game mechanically. But these two characters, they fuck it up. They rather they leave a stain, a sour taste, if you will. So I hopefully this doesn't impact SNK too much. Hopefully they'll keep going. SNK, man, they always have hard fucking times. It seems like every 10 years some bullshit happens to them, and they've been on a good roll for the last 10 years. So just the clock is ticking. Maybe it's time again.
They should have never let them in.
No, they really shouldn't. They really fucked up.
They should have never let them in. I get it. These guys have a lot of money, but how if you have a majority share, that means that you have more say as to what goes on.
Mm-hmm. And now look at this. The CEO's being given the window seat because this game flopped.
To be honest, I don't think. I don't think he
wasn't his fault.
Window seat.
It wasn't his fault. The fucking higher ups, the Saudis, told him do this.
Yeah. Put this in there. It'll be great. And he's like, all right, I'll do it.
All right, let's have it advertised with I show speed. It's like no fighting game fans don't care about these fucking influencers, man.
Exactly. No, I mean, I would have said, get your deals with with some of the influencers. Have them showcase the game.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. They just sort of like, hey, we're superstars. We don't need you guys.
They needed to build the ground back up. Fatal Fury's back. Let's build it back up. It's not like King of Fighters. You don't need to build shit up. It's already established, right? And I'll say this right now because the next game they have planned to come back is Art of Fighting. Listen, Art of Fighting is even more fucking obscure than Fatal Fury.
Yeah.
Like, and here's the thing. All the best Art of Fighting characters are already in King of Fighters. Don't bother with Art of Fighting. Release another King of Fighters. Release another banger. Or Samurai Showdown. Samurai Showdown. That's another easy win.
I also would have said, like, work in a couple of, like, of the King of Fighters characters. I mean, granted, everybody knows Mai, right?
Well, she's Fatal Fury,
Yeah, she's Fatal Fury, but, like, you work in a couple of a little more recognizable King of Fighters characters into the Fatal Fury game, just to get some more people to be like, oh, hey, they're in it too. Like, get
that would get people hyped. Like, oh shit, Kyo is in this shit. Iori, like people will go nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like King of Fighters characters in Fatal Fury. Because obviously because King of Fighters is basically just a mashup. So obviously you have Fatal Fury characters there. But that would be hype. See, Manny, but what you're saying makes too much sense. That's the problem.
It's because if Murder Prince thought he was a fighting game fan, the first thing he should have been like, no, we don't need to do. Let's not put Ronaldo and DJ Boy in this. Let's put some King of Fighters characters in there.
The DJ Fettuccine, as Maximilian calls him.
Yeah, I mean, his thing. I'll tell you one thing though. Like, he seems like
he's a good sport.
He seems like a good sport when it comes to him. Like, I'm cool. You don't see Ronaldo doing shit.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm in it, whatever.
Yeah, during Evo,
check cleared.
Yeah, during Evo, they had Justin Wong and a couple of people commentating, and Ronaldo just shows up. Not Ronaldo, the DJ. He just shows up and hangs out with them. He's like, I'm very happy to be here. And he's like, I watched you, Mr. Wong. You are very good. Like, you are not Mr. Dude. You are not number one, but you are very good. Like, that's fun,
He definitely has his eyes on Maximilian.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, because he looks like him.
He's like, listen, I'll send you a jumpsuit.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, that's the story right there. No love for aggressive dark combat. Yeah, people aren't gonna bring that back. Or fucking World Heroes,
Yeah, World Heroes is even a tougher sell.
Yeah, so it's like Art of Fighting. Listen, Art of Fighting is cool, but don't just bring out another King of Fighters or Samurai Showdown. Bring a real money maker, bro.
Yeah, I would say the best way to do it would be like every other year you bring out one of your other titles.
I agree.
So next year should be a King of Fighters. Following year you can do Art of Fighting, but what you do is you make sure you throw a couple Art of Fighting guys inside of King of Fighters.
Yeah, they're already there. We already got a few.
They're already there.
Yeah,
they already have a few.
But Manny,
and then bring out Akari Warriors.
There you go.
Because they're in King of Fighters as well.
They are, yeah. Team Akari Warriors. They're awesome. But again, one of the other problems, Manny, is this is in the old days. These games take forever to come out now. It's insane. It's like Samurai Showdown was 2019, then King of Fighters was like 2023, 2022, and then this game 2025. So
22. I mean, 3 years is not bad.
Yeah, so it's like 3 years. Little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years. Yeah.
4 years. That's not too bad for a fighting game.
But you can't hinge your next game be Art of Fighting. No. No.
They need a surefire on that next one, unless they're somehow able to turn around Fatal Fury.
They could, yeah. There's still hope, So we'll see. But yeah, very upsetting news there. All right, but let's lighten things up with this week's Ubisoft L.
Does that lighten things up?
Yeah, it does because I like making fun of Ubisoft. All right, so the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake is now set to release in 2026, and it no longer has remake in the title. How are you going to fuck this up? It's taking you years to release a remake, man, remaster. So that's an L right there. I wonder if this game, is going to go the way of Beyond Good and Evil, It's going to be fucking in limbo forever. But that's all you get, 2026. Maybe it's going to release in May 2026. It's insane. It'll be 3 years. 3 years developing a fucking remaster remake. Are you kidding me?
Damn.
What is wrong with Ubisoft, man? Anyway, I just had to bring that up. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, there you go. If you're hype, it's coming. All right, gotta bring. Okay. By the way, just so you guys know, the show notes were kind of already set by yesterday because there was just a lot that had happened this week. But then this story dropped, and I had to put it in here for Carlos specifically. But Manny's gonna get some enjoyment out of this too. Carlos, it happened for a third time. Jade Raymond starts a studio or joins the studio and then leaves.
Oh man, that's why we would always talk about him. Like people get hyped for names. You know, like there's just random names. People don't really know what they've done. Like they know they've been involved in projects and stuff. But you know, for some reason their name just gets way bigger than they're supposed to. And Jade Raymond is one of them. She left was it Ubisoft, right?
Yep, Ubisoft.
Left Ubisoft and created her own studio. And then I was like, oh, like this is, you know, Jade Raymond's new studio is like everyone's like hyped because, you know, her name is, you know, pretty popular. And it's like nothing came out of it. And then it went to what's it called? Google Stadia.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to John Christ. Went to Stadia. Nothing came off of it. Not even a game. Not even. I don't think we even got a trailer on
Nothing.
Nothing. And now went to Sony, and people are still hyped. And I'm like, yo, can she release a game and we can judge after that? Because it seemed like people were like hyped because, you know, there was the Raven Studio creation. Everyone got excited. I'm like, I don't know. Like it's, you know, what game has she released for us to garner this much hype?
Nothing.
You know?
She was just a producer on a couple of Assassin's Creed games. That is all she's done. She's had this is the third time now. She goes to either create a new studio or join a studio or whatever, and it never goes anywhere. But Carlos, by that metric, fucking Hassan, he's done more because at least he put out fucking trailers.
He did a demo.
Yeah, he did a demo. Yeah, so it's like more like that grifter has done more than this chick. You know?
Yeah. It's gonna happen again.
Oh yeah,
believe
absolutely.
Me, it's gonna happen again.
Bust out that the tea leaves, bro. It's happening. You know.
I mean, like what it just I don't know. It just might mean that whatever she's got going on isn't what people think. That it's maybe that, you know, because it's like, how is it that you're not able to ship a game for how many years and how many studios?
Yeah.
I mean, I could, you know, I could give it to her on the fact that Stadia went out, right? But you know, she got on the pat on the back, and this is the suggestion straight to Sony from Phil Harrison.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, that's ringing endorsement from Phil Harrison, the fucking Grim Reaper
the
of
tea leaves
gaming.
were like slapping you in the face.
Jesus.
Like, you know, so they get the rollover, you know, whatever they were working on, they get the rollover at PlayStation. But it's like, you know, like, I don't know, like, is Jade even a creative mind?
I don't think so.
Just like, is she just somebody who's able to get people to come to a studio? Like, what? Other than being a producer, and you know, maybe looking after money or getting people together to make a studio, what does she offer to a project other besides her name and maybe the ability to collect people?
But what does her name even mean? Her name means a person that comes to a studio and then doesn't make a game. That's what her name means.
Yeah, like I feel like every single time that they say her name, I'm like, okay, she's a recognizable name, but what has she done? She didn't create Assassin's Creed.
Nope.
She was the figurehead. She was the one that was talking about the game all the time. But that's just marketing.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. It's insane. Yeah.
She was a front facing person for Ubisoft for a while during that time, and got really popular. And then when she left, she was a name, and it's the industry is weird, man, because I don't know how, because she keeps getting jobs all these places, but you know and I just want, like, the thing that I'm wondering is who's going to be the next one that's going to be like, oh yeah, that we got to start. I want to see your vision come to fruition.
Yeah, you're right. I got to read this just to prove a point. The departure rounds off an eventful decade for Raymond. That's putting it lightly. Who left Ubisoft to found EA's Motive Studio in 2015 before leaving in 2018 for Google Stadia, who then left in 2021 and then founded this studio in 2022, and now she left again. My God. So this is 4 times then.
And I wonder, I mean, I'm guessing the studio's still active, right? So
yeah,
I wonder if they're actually going to release something.
Well, that's the thing, because they were working on Fair Games, and to be fair to Fair Games, there is a trailer, so there's that. So give her that. But apparently, there was some internal like review of the game, and it didn't go well. And then a couple weeks later, she leaves. So maybe she sees something like, oh, I don't want to be part of that, So
maybe she said the tea leaves were slapping you in the face.
Maybe, I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. So, Rich, what are your thoughts on this? I know you had some thoughts on this earlier when we spoke about it.
Yeah, I think that's a very ironic name for the game. It's fair game for her to leave, guys. You know what I'm saying? Because she said, "Hey, this game is not what you think it is." But so the live service game, we know that Sony has a lot of live service games they're trying to do. I believe it was 12 or so.
Yeah.
And I know I will give a shout out to Mr. Chris Seeley, because he said this game was going to be hot garbage. As soon as they announced all of these games, he was the main one say, yeah, this is going to be hot garbage. So yeah, I agree. Obviously, Sony has Marathon coming out later this year. And I believe everybody here is going to try that game out, right? So
day one,
Yeah. But I'm not surprised. I think it is very comical, because we've heard her name multiple times, all the stuff that she's worked on, and I haven't seen a damn thing since. So I think it's very hilarious.
Yeah, no, it's there's some things I'm gonna say, but I don't want to be called a misogynist, but listen, if you see the name Jade Raymond, just be skeptical, because probably nothing's going to come out of it. It's just one of these names that, again, I just think her name carries her around, yet she hasn't done anything. It's like being famous for being famous.
Yeah, it's a weird one, because it's like, in the times that we've heard her going to a new studio, I'm like, okay, let's see if this time if she can do it. Okay, let's see if this time she can do it. It's like, what is it? What? To be honest, like I don't know if maybe she should have just stuck it out and just shipped something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's crazy, man.
Maybe she didn't. Maybe she shouldn't have jumped ship, because it seems like whenever things go wrong, it seems like she's like, I'm out. I'm good.
Yeah, so she doesn't stick it out. Yeah, you're right.
It out, like, maybe she needs to make something, make a failure or something,
gotta have something.
Gotta have something, because it's like, I feel like as time, I know maybe it is, maybe she does leave before it affects her name,
Yeah, which makes you wonder how bad was this game, and what shape is it in,
what's the shape of this game?
It's crazy. All right, man. Let's move on here. The last thing, we'll talk about some games we've been playing. And I'll save me and Rich for last, because we got similar games we've been playing lately that we can finally tell you about. Embargoes have lifted.
Dirt.
Yeah, well, we talked about that already. It's another fighting game. So I'm very happy about, which I can't seem to find on Amazon, which is very strange. But we'll talk about that later. Manny, what have you been playing lately? You still playing Indiana Jones?
Oh no, I got the platinum in Indiana.
Yo, man, you crazy.
Yeah, and I also found this crazy secret puzzle thing. Like, it was like this room with a bunch of these they're like skeletons.
Yeah.
That have like these little switches on them, and you figure out the code and you turn them on, and the grave in the center of the room opens, and you get this crazy ass like weapon that has like 20 durability. Because like if you ever played the Indiana Jones game, every gun,
weapon fragility.
Yeah, he has weapon fragility. You hit like there's certain things, obviously, like a shovel, he could hit a person a couple of times, and then it will, then it'll break like maybe 4 or 5 times, depending on the item. So, but this crazy, like, it looks like a jawbone of like some animal. It's like a club, and it has like 20 like little pips underneath it. I'm like, what is this shit crazy thing used for? And this is in the Vatican level, so it's I don't know what it is, but wonder if it has to do anything with the DLC. So I got all that, and I got the platinum. So it was, again, fun game. Very relatively easy to get a platinum in it. Just play the game and you'll get pretty much most of them. Just open up all the different things, and then there's obviously a little bit of replayability. If you complete the final level, you get throughout the game you get these little, like, they look like pills.
Yeah.
They're not pills, but like these giant stone things. And every level has maybe about, I don't know, 20, a different amount of 15, 20. And if you solve all the different little hidden puzzles or find out different things, there's this grand puzzle at the end in the last level. There's this grand puzzle at the end of the last level, where you open this door and then you literally have to stick these crazy little things in and turn them in different directions.
Yeah, having complete that. Yeah.
Thing. So if you get all of them, you fill it up, and then it opens up it essentially pretty much shows you what I call the stinger ending. You find something cool that they
don't spoil it.
And then I'm not going to tell you what it is, but yeah, it's kind of cool. So yeah, it was a good ride. So now I'm back to playing Slitterhead a little bit. So I killed about 50 Slitterheads in the game. So I'm not getting the platinum in this one because as much as I dig the game, I don't care to play the game on a harder difficulty. I really don't like those trophies, because it's like, I don't know, it's something I don't really want to. The combat in is fine, but it's not something that fun to the point where I want to play that over and over again.
Yeah,
I want to sort of just get through the game, get all the characters, and and see the story to its end. So yeah, I've been creeping along on that. And what else? I don't have the Fighting Collection, the second one, pre-ordered. I thought I might have, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that. So we'll find out.
Yeah. By the way, did you buy the event? Did you ever buy the first one, the Darkstalkers one?
No, I never bought that one.
All right. I'm not going to say anything else, but don't buy it.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. It relates to something, the first announcement I made at the beginning of the show, and about age and all that. So don't buy it, because I could actually buy this game, unlike the second collection. All right, Carlos, what have you been playing lately?
Yo, man, I've been playing Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I beat the game this past weekend. It's a great game. It's a great game. I would give it a 9.5 out of 10 if I were to give it a review score. Not quite perfect, but it's a hell of an experience.
Wait, how much did you give it?
A 9.5.
That's pretty good.
It's not it's not at the very, very best. Mostly it's crazy. It's got one of the best stories. It's got an incredible combat system. It's got all the RPG elements that all make sense and make the game even more fun. It's got the overarching, world map, but there's a lot of quality of life type things that are kind of annoying with this game. Obviously, that aren't big enough to make this anything worse than a 9. So, but it still brings it down. But it's great, man. I've done mostly everything I think you can do in this game. I haven't looked at the achievements / trophies on this, so I don't know what I'm missing. I'm not gonna chase for the completion thing, but there are 2 things that I want to do before I I put this game to rest, or before there's a DLC or maybe something comes out in the future. But there's 2 optional bosses that I fought them both once, and my God, they are ridiculous. They're not Dark Souls level. They're worse than Dark Souls level. They're what's his homeboy's name from the final boss from Erdtree. Killed us. Yeah, that's his level. Like that's how hard these bosses are. So I think what I would need to do is to grind a little bit more on the game. Hopefully, get all my characters to max level, get all my Pictos and Luminas to as many as I can, and then take them on again. There's only 2 that are super difficult, but I should get that done before the end of the year. And because I think what I'm gonna do tomorrow is gonna start playing Doom.
Oh, let's go, son. Let's go.
Yeah, man. Getting back into the dojo, man. That Doom is like Tony and Rich have mentioned in the reviews. Like Doom is Doom, man. That's the great thing about it. Like you're going in for a good time. There's no disappointments with this game. You know what you're getting, and you're gonna love it. So I'm looking forward to playing it and listening to the soundtrack.
Yes.
Going crazy, killing some monsters, and but yeah, pretty much it for me.
It's good.
It's good.
All right. Hey, Brian's here. I fucking around. What have you been playing lately, sir?
I actually finished South of Midnight last week.
Game of the year?
Not quite. I actually pretty much agree with exactly what Rich said about the game, in that it looks good. It's just that the combat is just not there. It's not strange combat. It's just they have some weird design decisions with the combat that I don't agree with, such as the dash having a weird cooldown. Like you can't dash when you think you should dash, and that makes no sense. But apart from that, it looks really good, and I like the storylines, most of them, and yeah, the soundtrack was great, so can't fault that. Yeah. Finished that, and then I moved on to Doom Eternal.
Yes.
I just did not get around to that yet, so that I can finish off that and then start on Doom Dark Ages, hopefully in summertime.
You're in for a good time, man.
I'm like 2 hours in Doom Eternal and already having a great time.
Yeah, that's
again, as Carla says, Doom is Doom.
Damn right. All right, Chris, what have you been playing lately?
Oh, this week a whole lot of nothing.
Uh-oh.
Does it count? I bought Doom.
I guess that
I
counts.
installed it. I plan to play it. Probably like Carlos, I'll probably fire it up tomorrow and try it out because I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, no, this week I haven't played a damn thing.
Yeah, it happens. All right, Rich, we can finally tell people about fully tell people about the Capcom Fighting Collection 2, which is, while the time you're hearing this is probably already available. Actually, I'm already seeing links being dropped on Twitter, so I think it is available now to everybody. But obviously, if you listen to the show in the morning, it's already out there. What's going on, Sketch? Palata, no, brother. You already know. What's going on, Otaku Man? Hey, you actually joined while there's still more show to listen to. But yeah, Rich, I want to get your thoughts on the Capcom Fighting Collection, and I'll drop some of mine.
Yeah, so Capcom Fighting Collection 2. I did do a review for it. It's currently on the website. Hey, I enjoyed the collection. I must admit that Power Stone, that is not a game that I played growing up at all.
Ooh.
So clearly that was new for me to experience that, because I know our very good friend, Mr. Torrance Davis. He was the one that got hyped when he heard this got announced. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Power Stone 1. I know we couldn't talk about that initially when we did the preview. But yeah, I enjoyed that game. And like I had mentioned before, what I like about these games, every game, I was able to play these games and I was able to see, okay, now I see where certain where they got the inspiration for certain fighting mechanics that are still in some games today. The what was that game? Project Justice, right? That was a very interesting game with the rival schools. I didn't play any of that other stuff either. I played other games, not those games. I did, however, play Capcom versus SNK growing up, so it was great to get back into that. What is this other game? This Bilstein.
That's a Plasma Sword.
Plasma Sword. That's it. So, is that game supposed to be inspired by Star Wars or any of these other type of?
The developer said. Oh, by the way, just so people know, Plasma Sword in Japan it's called Star Gladiator 2. It's actually a sequel. Just like Rival Schools not Rival Schools. Project Justice is a sequel to Rival Schools. But the game very unashamedly inspired by Star Wars. Prequel Star Wars, like the original trilogy Star Wars, very clearly, because this game came out way before, not way before, like a year before, the Anakin trilogy came out. So it's old Star Wars, and definitely not inspired by new Star Wars, which is absolute trash, Whoa. But yes, very much inspired by that for sure. Very interesting character designs too, Rich,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I did laugh at some of those characters. No doubt about that. But no, I mean, overall, I enjoyed the collection. I know, Tony, you were very critical of the Capcom Fighting Evolution.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that is and why it's a part of this collection, but all the other stuff, I had a good time. If I was to compare this to the Marvel vs. Capcom arcade classics, well, you already know I prefer that collection more than this. But this is still a great collection. I believe it's only $40. Yes, it is out on all platforms, including Nintendo Switch,
including Xbox. Remember, Xbox got left out of the loop last time. Oh
yeah. Oh yeah. And I will add, I find that funny because when we previewed the game, the Xbox code was not available. They only said PlayStation 5 or PC. So very interesting. Yes.
Yeah. One thing that is a kind of disappointment, if you're like an online player, there's no crossplay, which is a problem with the last collection too. I'm like, Capcom, come on, man, make it happen,
I agree. That's something that they should consider fixing in the future. Hopefully, I don't know if they're going to, but but it is a good collection. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've definitely been enjoying playing a lot of it lately. The SNK, Capcom versus SNK games in particular, I've been devoting most of my time to those. Fantastic games, because I didn't play them originally because they came out. They did come out on Dreamcast, but they were like imports. And I was playing other fighting games, ironically, other Capcom fighting games at the time. And I know the game, and Rich, I'm pretty sure you played it on PS2, right? Is that where you played Capcom vs. SNK2?
That's correct.
Yeah, by that time, I was already kind of moved on to other stuff. I was probably playing some GTA at that time, so didn't play. But the collection's great. Really enjoyed the Capcom vs. SNK games. Here's something that's slightly controversial. A lot of people, rightly so, prefer SNK, Capcom vs. SNK 2. While I do agree that it is a better game mechanically, gameplay-wise, more robust, I like the first one more because of the visuals and the music. Because the second game has like 3D backgrounds, and while they look better than the 3D backgrounds in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, the 2D sprites don't really mesh well with the 3D backgrounds. But in CVS 1, the sprites look so fucking good. The backgrounds are amazing, like some of the best like Capcom backgrounds ever, which were inspired by SNK backgrounds, which actually are objectively better than Capcom backgrounds. I also like the music in the CVS one because it kind of has this, for lack of a better term, like millennium feel. Like if you guys remember what music was kind of like at the turn of the millennium, kind of like futuristic-y kind of synthy type of stuff, like very heavy type of music like that. And I enjoyed it. It makes me think about, oh shit, like Y2K and shit like that. Very enjoyable, but obviously two better gameplay, better roster. The groove systems are crazy because you basically get 6 different play styles in one. This is for CVS2. You get 3 Capcom styles and 3 SNK styles. And I'm really glad I got really into the SNK games, in recent months because I would start. I could naturally flip between the two. I kind of prefer K Groove more than all of them, which is basically a mix of Samurai Showdown and Mark of the Wolves. From Mark of the Wolves, it has Just Defend, where if you hit back at the right time, it'll kind of do a parry. And then the Samurai Showdown part is like basically the more you keep getting hit, the redder you get. And when you reach maximum redness, you could unleash a super move. And the super move leaves so much fucking damage. It's crazy. Really enjoyed that. So yeah, those games are great. Again, I'm still playing through those two. I mean, what's up, Manny?
No, I was gonna say I remember one thing about people saying about that one is that some of the grooves are a little broken.
I don't know about broken, but some of them are kind of useless. Like yeah. I'm like A groove doesn't make any sense to me. It's basically like in alpha you have custom combos. It's not as strong as like P groove where it's like parrying like Street Fighter 3. And S groove for the SNK side, it's a little bit more like King of Fighters 94 where you have to like charge up, your beater. Like if you're charging up, you're gonna get fucked up. So it's kind of stupid. Yeah. So that was that.
I don't know. I mean, yeah. The one thing I didn't like about that one is that because there was so many variables. So, as opposed to like not only fighting your own, like, fighting a specific character, right? But then there also the way they sort of weirdly charge up their super move.
Yeah, for that groove.
React to that.
Yeah, for that groove. For the other ones. Hold up, real quick. I want to give a shout out to Red Infamy, who's joining us in the chat. Very long time since we've seen you. Miss you. You're awesome. So, by the way, Red, I have been, sometimes I lurk in your streams, because you stream a lot, and I am also part of your Discord. So I do see when you make updates, I kind of hop in to some of your streams and stuff. I really just love seeing you doing your thing pretty much on a nightly basis. So shout out to you. Shout out to Hip Hop Gamer, obviously. Everybody's showing up at the end of the show. This is good. Los, what's going on, brother? But yeah, Red, we got to see each other soon. It's been too long. Yeah, we all miss you, Thanks for dropping by. Really appreciate that. We're just talking about some Capcom Fighting Collection 2 right now. But yeah, so here's the one thing I will say about these. And I know there's other games in the collection. I'll get to them in a bit. So about inconsistency, Manny. The inconsistency I don't like, and this with both games, the art style inconsistency. Because it's like there are some brand new sprites. All the SNK characters are brand new sprites. They all look really nice. And some of the Street Fighters are brand new sprites, like Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Bison. They all look great. But then they're reusing other sprites, and it's like they don't really gel.
Yeah, you have like you have like, was it Sagat from
Street Fighter Alpha?
Alpha's in there? Yeah.
And the most egregious one, and this has been a joke for years, Morrigan. She is the oldest sprite, and it looks like it. Like, she just looks way out of place. But other than that, and then some of the artwork doesn't it's low res for some reason, so it's like sometimes you'll get high res art mixed with low res art and it just looks kind of off and stuff. So a little weird, but I do like how, if you select a Capcom groove, it'll be a Capcom art. And if you pick a SNK groove, it'll be SNK art, and you kind of mix and match that, which is really fun. But yeah, I've been having an absolute blast with SNK. CVS2, so good. So those are like the standout games, and then we have the Power Stone games. opposite of Rich Ray, I love Power Stone 1. That's the game Manny and I played a lot back in the day.
Yep.
You know?
Dreamcast. Yep.
Dreamcast played the shit out of that. So the game is still just as fun as ever. The one thing I kept thinking when I'm playing this game, I'm like, man, this game is so imaginative. You don't really see a lot of that nowadays, you know, even from Capcom. It's just so like abundant imagination just flowing through that game. Still a blast. Loving playing that. Unfortunately, my opinion hasn't changed on Power Stone 2. Back in the day, I felt it was way too fucking chaotic, too much like Smash Brothers. My opinion hasn't changed. I still don't like this game. I'm playing this game, dude, and half the time I'm like, I don't know where my character is. It's just because you have 4 characters on the screen. You're very tiny, you know, and there's a bunch of shit going on in the levels trying to kill you. It's too much. I'm not a fan. But it is not the low light of this franchise, of this collection, excuse me. I'm just going to jump right to it. The shittiest game on this is Capcom Fighting Evolution. This is a game I've heard nothing but bad things. I didn't play it back in the day, but I remember seeing it back. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Basically, you have characters from 5 different games, and they each bring their own fighting style. There is no cohesive fighting style to this. So you literally have Street Fighter 2 characters playing Street Fighter 2 characters up against Third Strike characters who can do parries and all this other crazy shit. Very unbalanced, but that's not even the most egregious thing to me. It looks fucking ugly. This is literally one of the ugliest looking, no, not one of, it is the ugliest looking Capcom fighting game ever. Street Fighter 1 looks better than this shit. You know, they're reusing all, like, they have these backgrounds that are like being reused. They're super low res. The characters are barely animating. They're literally taking posters and shit, like, and just throwing them in the background. Here's your character. There's Chun-Li. There's like, it's horrible. It's offensive to the eyes. You know,
get that trash out of here.
Exactly. Like I purposely made sure I beat the game with every character real quick, so I don't have to do that again. Horrible experience. Like gameplay wise, it's not terrible, and the character selection is kind of interesting, but it's just so ugly looking. Like what? I'm like, yo, I don't even need glasses, and I feel I need glasses or shit. But even Rich, I have like 5. That was the 8 filters on this shit. None of them help this fucking game. Horrible looking. You know. So to answer your question, why is this game on a collection? I think it's just for posterity. It's like, okay, let's just throw it in there.
They got it working. It's on there.
Yeah. So yes, yeah. So that's the only kind of good thing. It's at least it's preserved. You know, Sketch says saw better backgrounds on Mugen made by people with a mouse and MS Paint. Yeah, and I'm glad you bring this up because that's what I really thought. This game, and Sketch, I am not lying when I say this. I was thinking the whole time thinking, this is an official Mugen game, you know? Like, if you don't know, it really is. It's just an official Mugen game. It's just haphazardly thrown together. Absolute, utter trash. You know, the only thing I will say that's good about this game, it's that lovely Shinkiro art. This one, Shinkiro, so when Shinkiro, he was the main SNK artist for a long time, and it was kind of weird, like kind of these realistic looking things. Then he moved over to Capcom, and he decided, at least in the initial stages, let me draw like Capcom, and it looks fucking amazing. So the character portraits look great. The endings are really cool because they're all drawn by Udon. They even cheaped out on the endings. Don't know words or nothing. It's just these fucking random pictures, but the pictures look nice. So I love the Shinkiro art, the Udon art. But the actual game, offensive to the eyes, man. Absolute trash. You know, you could tell it was made on the cheap. Let me see. What do we have here? Then we have, some of the 3D games. Plasma Sword, really fun. I got to put more time into it. But again, very imaginative game. Lots of fun. I also, again, another one I got to put more time into. Project Justice. Lots of fun as well. That's
the one I'm looking forward to playing again. I mean, that's one of my favorite fighting games.
Very fun. Yeah,
that one is very much controls like a Marvel versus Capcom. Down up is your super jump.
Yep.
A lot of the movement is very similar to it.
The moves,
obviously it's 3D characters, but a lot of it's 3D characters. But yeah, probably the most solid of those 3D fighters that they had put out. Like Street Fighter EX is garbage.
Yeah.
But that one, yeah, they did a really good job with that.
Sketch says Project Justice is my jam. I burned that back on the day to CD to play in my Dreamcast. Yeah, because it didn't come out in America. It was like you had to import that shit, I believe.
No, Project Justice came out.
Really?
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was.
I have it. It's like a double disc.
Oh, if you have it, then there you go. I saw somewhere that it never came out in America. But yeah, Project Justice is very good. I got to put more into it. The artwork looks really good in that game too. You know, really fun characters. I like the whole kind of high school vibe and shit. Very cool. I
like the coach. The coach.
So Sketch says,
coach in the red outfit.
Yeah, Sketch says it was ported later and it was a bad port.
Really?
Yeah. And then last but not least, I almost forgot about it because I played 50 million versions of this. Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper. This was the last arcade version of this game, and it has a lot of characters. There's still more characters in the home version, but I like the game. It's Street Fighter Alpha 3. It's great. It's fantastic. I still have my quibbles with it that I still had back in the day. I still feel I don't like the music as much as like Street Fighter Alpha 1 and 2. It's like every song sounds the same because here's the thing. Every song has a different melody, but they all have the same beat. Like it's like I don't know. It still doesn't work for me. There's a couple songs in there I like Cammy Stage. That one's really good. Sakura Stage. And by the way, this pisses me off. Man, remember how hard Bison was in that fucking game? Mm-hmm. Like he was brutal. He hits you with that Psycho Crusher, you're done, right?
Yeah, that was super move. Yeah,
I go in there and I'm playing on standard difficulty. I'm going there. I'm like, okay, he's gonna do a Psycho Crusher. I'm not gonna jump. I'm just gonna just go to him and just do low attacks. I swept him. He fell for it. Swept him again. Fell for it. I'm like, swept him again and fell for him. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, Manny? I beat this game with 4 characters. I just go to Bison and sweep him.
What?
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Really? That's all I had to do?
He's like,
sweep
no,
him.
my greatest weakness, being sweeped.
He literally has an Achilles heel. It's amazing. I'm like, really? I could have just done that instead of, fucking pulling out my hair. I could actually see the character ending instead of seeing the Bison ending all the fucking time. Because remember, when you die to Bison, that's it. No continues.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got the kid. Yeah, that was it.
Are you saying that Capcom hired Def Rebel to make the music? I don't know who Def Rebel is. Anyway, yes, great collection. I agree with Rich. I still prefer the Capcom Marvel vs. Capcom collection because I just have more history. I played all of those games back in the day, bro. Mm-hmm. With this one, I only played only 2 of them. Really, I only played three. I played the 2 Power Stone games and Street Fighter Alpha. I didn't play any of the other games at all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a great collection. I'm having a blast with it. Definitely go check it out. And like Rich said, $40. So yeah, that's what I've been sinking my teeth into. But Rich, what other games are you playing that you're allowed to talk about?
So yeah, obviously Doom. I'm so glad that finally Carlos and Chris and Manny and everybody else will finally get to play this game. It's fantastic. There you go. I will give a shout out to Mr. Adam Vale. He did review it. That review is on the website. So yeah, but check it out. The game is awesome. I do need to get back to Expedition 33. I will, obviously, by Carlos's recommendation, because I've been busy playing a whole bunch of other games. I am playing a few things I can't talk about, although I will say this. I am playing Blades of Fire. There actually is a demo that they released today. So I would encourage you all, if you are interested in this game, try out the demo, and then you can hear what I think about the actual game when the review embargo ends next week. But I've actually been playing that game for the last 2 weeks, and I do have a lot to say about it, so stay tuned for that.
There you go. I got so excited, Rich, about Capcom Fighting Collection. I also forgot, yes, I've also been playing a lot of Doom, the Dark Ages. We gave you guys our review last week, but yeah, the game I'm constantly playing. I will say this, though. I'm a little upset right now because I think, Rich, remember I told you I'm like, yo, this platinum is guaranteed, bro. That may not be the case anymore. Because I apparently have hit a glitch trophy.
Oh no!
Very
Which
upsetting.
trophy is this?
It's a trophy for upgrading all your shields, your melee, and something else. It's like the 3 kind of melee things. Not your main weapons, right? The sub weapons. You have to like. I see it in the menu. Like the last that club and shit that you get, that the rune that really hits hard. I can't unlock the final upgrade, even though I have more than enough resources to buy it, and I looked it up, and that trophy is indeed glitched, and the only way to fix the glitch is to start a new game and play the whole game again and get 100% of the entire game again. Like, fuck!
That's not good.
Yeah, because in this game, the way it's set up, if you get 100% in every level, you will automatically get the platinum. All the requirements are there, but I can't do it. So I'm like, shit. So
now hold on a second. Now wait a second. So can't Sony just patch this a fix in rather than having people play?
It would be Bethesda that has to fix it. It's not Sony's fault. But that is a good question. It's like, is that achievement fucked up on Xbox? Is it fucked up on PC? But right now it's a trophy. There's also another, like, apparently there's 2 glitch trophies. Bethesda, what are you doing? But I did get the other one. So because basically, if you unlock upgrades during each level, it fucks things up apparently. So what you have to do is you have to just not spend any money on weapon upgrades and stuff. Like your primary weapon, like your guns you could upgrade, but don't spend any money and then just buy everything in one shot, and then you'll get the trophy. It's fucking bullshit, man. So that's the only negative I have about Doom: The Dark Ages. So that phenomenal game, and I think somebody did ask me, what do I think about it? Now that I've had more time with it, I think I can't say I do like it more than Doom Eternal, and I love me some Doom Eternal. But this game's just brutal, bro. Like, you get in there, man, you fuck up them demons with that shield, man. You feel like a fucking tank. Yo, and I found this out. This makes me kind of happy. The developers already said the next game will also take place in this medieval setting,
Oh, really?
Yeah, very interesting. That's not a rumor. They actually said that. And Rich, I don't know if you caught this. There's DLC coming for this game eventually.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so very curious to see that, but I'm already over it. Game, so much fun. It's brutal as fuck. That's what I like about it, All right, man. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you for joining us on this extended episode. We had a lot to say this week, man. So, Rich, what's going on with the coalition this weekend, man?
So, myself, Mr. Carlos Romero, and Mr. Adam Vale, we will be releasing the next review of the I Am Negan Walking Dead podcast, where we will be covering Carlos's favorite show of the year. Dead City.
Gotta have something.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. It has Adam's seal of approval. So there you go. Stay tuned for that review. I will be reviewing the Power finale with Dana and Gary. There may possibly be a few other things coming. And outside of that, I will continue to be working on a couple of reviews. Like I said, a lot of stuff is under embargo, but stay tuned for the Blades of Fire review early next week.
All right. Manny, I'm going to let you finish chewing so you could plug. But while you do that, I want to go off on a slight, I know we're ending the show, but I got to go off on a rant. A little rant. And it is another fighting game thing. Okay. So over the weekend, the source code for Guilty Gear Strive got put out there, right? People are uploading a bunch of shit. Very interesting that websites are reporting this. I thought we weren't supposed to talk about leaks. The fucking hypocrisy, man. It's fucking bullshit, So the source code gets leaked. A bunch of shit that's been that's supposed to be coming all got leaked. Everybody's reporting on it. Where's Greg Miller? That's all I'm saying. Hypocrites, bro. Anyway, Manny,
you know,
yeah, go ahead.
you know how it goes. If you report on a smaller dog, nobody's gonna start getting nobody's gonna not get the games sent to them. They don't give a shit if they don't get
also
sent the game
when
this
you're
time around, right?
Yeah.
when you're in Sony's pocket, it's very easy to side with one thing over another.
When you're, I mean, it's like when you're like you don't anger the top dog. That's the way it goes, right? If Sony cuts you off, that means that you don't have any content, right? Because they're like the top console out there. So that means that you won't get your fancy PlayStation Pro, or you won't get your Sony exclusives. So I'm sure that's the pure reason why they didn't say anything about any of that.
They don't want to upset Insomniac. Yeah.
They didn't want to upset Sony.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Rich, what were you going to say, Ben?
Well, I was just going to answer your question, Tony. We at least we know what Greg Miller's opinion on this is. He thinks it's kind of funny. So there you go.
Oh man, it's the hypocrisy, man. Anyway, Manny, what do you got to plug, Ben?
Yes. So out on the field right now is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #9, or it's actually coming next week. Yeah, it's coming the 20th, 23rd, or something like that.
Yeah, it's next week. Yeah.
That's the Michelangelo cover. That's going to be out. So it's Kari Randolph and I on that one. And right now, if you go to Skybound, this is already out. If you go to skybound.com shop, you can pre-order this, or you could buy this G.I. Joe Real American Hero. It's a reprint of issue 21, and if you don't know what that is, you need to read, because this is some history right here.
Well, you don't need to read, Manny. That's the hook right there.
That's the thing. You actually you don't need to read it, because it's a silent interlude with the famous silent issue of G.I. Joe done by Larry Hama. So really cool issue, all visual storytelling, and has for this one on Skybound we have two versions of this, which is one with the G.I. Joe cover dressing and one without. And this little special cover by me, Kari Randolph, and myself. So yeah, that's all on Skybound site. You can get that right now.
Good stuff. So, yeah. All right, man. So thank you for joining us. Shout out to everybody else in the chat tonight. Always good to have you guys there. Sketch, we'll get back into some Monster Hunter soon. Shout out to Red Infamy. Shout out to Andre, Mr. Tipton's, Los. Barry Burton holding it down. You already know, man. But yeah, we're done here. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Join the Discord where the conversations and the rumors are always popping. And make sure you follow us on your favorite podcast app. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. And tonight, I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
And Brian Manjoma.
So is she just going to jump like another game studio and then leave that one, or is she just going to leave gaming?
The tea leaves were like slapping you in the face.
Yeah, I believe history will repeat itself, Brian. It's going to happen. Another studio, then 3 years after that, she'll leave. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. All right, guys, we'll see you on Sunday. Later.